Hey everyone, today on the G3 Boardroom we are going to be talking about our thoughts on Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to Ghost Town.
Are we talking about
to the Ghost Town?
Goes to the Ghost
Are we
Town.
talking about our thoughts, our psychic premonitions? Okay, I'm going first. I'm cutting you off.
All right.
I was going to say, actually, you should have done the review before playing the game, which would have been Psychic.
Psychic.
You can always edit it and then put the
Make
put
it
the
work for
words.
that.
The quick word on components. I always do components. The components in here are good enough. The little chips of cardboard, got little pieces of wood for the ghost and for the characters. I'd say they're good enough. The cards are a little bit oversized for your standard card protector. I wouldn't worry about them too much. They don't get used a lot. So I wouldn't fear that. The box itself becomes the map for the mare. The only problem here is if you are playing with a group of 5 and you're all sharing the same table, it's possible that this guy here can look over and see what's actually going on in the box. Now, in our playthrough, I constructed a little bit of a shield here. Nobody that we know is going to cheat, but an accidental glance, peripheral vision, you might see something. So you just got to watch it. Other than that, I thought the components were good enough.
And if you're playing at home, the mayor, the one who's running the map, could be at a different table.
Yeah.
They could,
could be up at the kitchen counter while the kids are
while everyone else is there.
I did miss one thing about the components. These are dry erase boards that come with dry erase pens. Can you erase that and see if it marks it in any way or if it's a good erase?
No, it was good.
It's a good erase.
These brand new ones are, for sure.
Yeah. If you get a good erase out of them, that's the main thing. So, there you go.
That's actually a good point. You should probably erase it sooner than later.
Yeah, don't leave it on there between games and you're probably going to be just fine.
I hope you don't need any pictures of reference for our notes.
Oh, not anymore. Okay.
Draw it again.
What are your thoughts here, guys?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I was kind of afraid of so what you're doing is you're kind of blindly walking through this 7x7 grid, and it's a competitive game, but it's almost a player versus environment because we don't know where any of us are, and we really can't mess with each other that much. What we're trying to do is we're trying to find a pizza by groping around in the dark, and then find the house that pizza goes to by doing the same thing using our psychic abilities. So you can't really. I guess you can steal someone else's pizza, but if I know that Bob is right next to a pizza, I don't know where Bob is. Although it is possible to figure that out. And then in our playthrough, I was able to figure out exactly where Bob was. So as Bob moved, I'm drawing onto my map, his movements.
Yeah.
Didn't help because Bob ended up winning. But
Didn't help because Bob wanders aimlessly.
yeah.
It was kind of dumb luck that the pizza was as close to the house as it was.
Another thing that you can stumble onto is a portal. And if you hit a portal, you just get reset. And then you erase everything that you've got on your map.
No, you don't have to erase it, but you're going to end up in a completely different spot. So then your points of reference are so far off that.
So I was
gone, really.
Yeah.
I was kind of afraid that this game that would be the fatal flaw in the game, and that the game would just go for hours because you get your whole thing mapped out, you know exactly where everything is, and you hit a portal and you start from scratch.
Yeah.
But our playthrough was pretty quick.
It's important to point out that when I give the reports, none of those reports contain there might be a portal near you.
And
Trapdoor.
I think it actually goes quick because it is only 7x7.
Yeah.
And you'd have to play it a few more times to see, but what was interesting that happened here was you guys quickly found out you were right next to each other. And then you're looking at each other's boards, and then somehow, once I ran into that side of the map, it became very obvious because you had both kind of moved along, made that whole fence line, right, for the east side of the board, and I knew where things were at that point. So
Point of note, I did not put the connection together. You said it.
that you were in the same spot?
Yeah. Because you went, the ghost, that's the same spot. And I was like, oh. Of course.
Twice. You didn't put that together. You would have thought the second time.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of been obvious at the point.
Scratch, trying to map out
when he swung at a ghost that wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody knew, and I pointed it out. when you swung at a ghost that wasn't there and still didn't figure it out.
Right after I just scared the ghost away.
Yeah, 2 turns away.
But I mean, in games like this, you're really focused on trying to figure out your own stuff. It's tough to figure out what everyone else is doing too. Now, that's because I'm stupid. I'm sure that most of you guys out there are like, oh yeah, I know what everyone's doing at the table.
You
But,
do have to pay close attention, because if you make one mistake, your whole thing's messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, once,
absolutely.
what was interesting was once I realized, so I had the pizza, and I went past the house, and you told me it wasn't the right house. And I knew from one of the other comments that one of these guys had stepped on a house. So then I was trying to figure out, okay, where was that house in relation? Because once I made it to that side,
I remember looking up and
I was
seeing
like-
you
I was like,
hovering over Bob's board.
Well, I'm looking
what
at
you
it
should have
going,
noticed was
I
I
don't
was
even
looking
think
at
mine is right.
Yeah, correct. I was. I'm looking at Bob's board, and I can't make heads or tails of what's going on over here because there's so much chicken scratch on here. I can't figure it out.
This looks like a drawing of a battleship. I don't know, what is this?
But I knew that Jay was close by, so that's when. But he had his hand here the whole time.
So did Bob. Bob's
Trying
like
to do
this.
it.
Like, what the heck?
The only absolute I knew was where the portal was that I ended up at.
I'd be interested to know if the designers of this game sort of had in mind, okay, people are going to find out where each other are, and they're going to use that to their advantage. Or if the designers designed it, never thought of that, did their playthroughs, it never happened.
Oh, they reference
just-
it in the rules.
Well, there's,
Oh, okay.
do
do they?
think
it's only a 7x7,
it's
so you're
small
bound to run
enough.
into
I mean,
each other.
what's the chances that the first time we play it, you guys run into each other and it's not common? Again, I think you have to play it a few times to
But
see.
we never ended up on the exact same spot. We were kind of.
I think you might have
I think
once.
you walked over
Yeah.
each other at one
Right.
point.
But you see, that's the thing too. Nowhere in the rules do I have to tell you when you're near one another, when you've stepped on one another. It's like you
Or if
don't
you're
occupy
on-
the same plane of existence.
Or if you're on
The
the
point
same
I'd like
spot
to make
as the
about that
house.
is the worst psychic ever.
I know.
You're literally standing next to a person, don't know they're there.
They're only
I think
paying
we're the
attention
ghosts.
to the ethereal, the other dimension. They're not paying attention to what's. right.
Jay's on another level.
To the-
Jay's on
earthly
the
plane.
Yes.
Jay's on another level. He's thinking we're the ghosts,
Yeah.
and the ghosts are people.
Because we're walking through houses.
Yeah, because
So you have a
we don't.
conspiracy theory about
Because we
psychic
don't,
pizza.
we don't kill the ghosts, you scare them away.
All right.
It's like,
Yes.
people don't scare ghosts away, ghosts scare people.
Ooh, it's getting deep in here.
The designer of their games are going to watch your video and go, "That's right."
It is.
We're going to put that in the canon.
Usually, I think when the designers watch us play their games, they're just like,
Wow.
putts.
I would say from the mayoral position, it was easy to move people around the board. You get a lot of cards. There are 4 cards for 2 players. These are setup cards. There's 4 cards for 2 players, 4 cards for 3 players, and 4 cards for 4 players. So there's some variety we had there. It was easy enough from here to set it up on the board and move people around. The only struggle I really had was at the beginning, which color token were you guys? And I was afraid I was going to move the wrong color token, But other than that, it was
Interestingly enough,
easy enough.
we chose our tokens to match our shirt colors. Should have made it.
It
easier.
didn't help me. No.
So this one you said, when they say the number of players, is that including
Yeah.
the mayor or not?
For 4 players, it's 4. It says specifically 4 deliverers.
Four deliver-
So yeah,
okay,
this one
okay.
goes up to 5. One person's got to be the mayor. You can have 4 deliverers. But that's why we brought on an extra person, because just having 2 deliverers, we didn't think that was going to fly all that
Yeah,
well.
that'd be,
So-
it'd be fun to play this game with maxed
A
out.
full 4.
Yeah.
I think
four,
so too.
'cause,
It would definitely get crowded.
Well, if we try to do a video out of it, but on a normal
No,
person's
I
scale.
mean, in the game itself.
And that's actually a good point, though. You talk about, did they think about players running into each other? 2-player game, you're probably not running into each other nearly as
Right.
often, right? 4-player
Yeah.
game, you're probably running into each other.
I think
a lot.
4 players. It would have to be established. Like if there's a 4-player game, I think people would be constructing walls so that no one's looking at their.
Well,
their
that's
stuff,
the real
you know?
question: is do you think that the intention of the game is that you can look at each other's boards and glean things, or are you not supposed
That's
to
a
be
good
able to-
question.
There's a variant on the back of the rule book for no peeking, so I think
Okay,
they anticipate
so-
a certain amount of
Oh,
peeking.
okay. Well, it's
So-
okay.
But you know, that really comes down to like
I think all bets are off if there's a variant with
It
no
says-
peeking.
Right.
somebody
Right.
gets
Now
up
I
to
don't
the-
even feel guilty about doing one of these.
somebody gets out for a drink, you just copy all the stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Potentially,
Good.
you could be all in one corner of a room playing this game.
Yeah, you could. You know, originally what I thought we could do with the playthrough videos, I was actually going to sit over there behind the camera with the thing, and I would just shout over to you like a disembodied voice, or green screen me into a haunted house of some kind. You know, I thought that would be kind of funny.
The budget wasn't good
No,
enough for that.
no.
Okay.
Thinking about that now, you could actually play this online via Zoom.
You could.
You just have
Oh,
to
yeah.
have
But
your own
again,
game board.
none of these things are as fun
Yeah, that's true.
when you're not sitting
Well,
with
you
them.
know, I
but
mean,
during COVID, it would have been
would've been perfect.
fantastic. It would have
Would've
been a
been a great
perfect
game.
game for that.
During COVID, Jay, myself, and Dave played Gloomhaven online. I set up my laptop and I put my phone as a camera, and you know, we had
have to admit, I've never played that game, so I don't know how hard that would
Dungeons
be.
and Dragons.
Okay.
Pretty much dungeon crawler.
The box weighs 22 pounds. You can beat someone that does that.
Why do you always go immediately to turning things into a weapon?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's his bar. Can you beat someone that does with it or not?
It's like when most people ask, "Is it larger than a bread box?"
Right.
Can
that's
I
his-
beat someone?
That's
to
his
death with
first
it?
20
Right
questions. Let's go to.
That's right.
So this game is a very, very fun game. It's got enough thinking in it to make it a real game, but not too much.
Yeah.
You know, you can
It's
still have a lot of
still
fun while
very
you're
light.
playing it, as I think we did during our playthrough.
I had a blast until Bob won.
You know, I would say this about this game. I think you're right. It's a light game. It's a fun game. It's not that in depth. My only quibble about this game is actually on the price tag, which is this was $39.99. I don't think there's
pricey for
enough
what's
game
here.
here for $39.99. I see this in the $24 range, $20 range. $40 was a little bit much for what you're actually getting here. That being said, it's a fun game. If you can find it on a sale or you can find it secondhand, it's worth your time. It's a lot of laughs. If you're playing with goofballs like I do, then it's a lot of fun. Get a good game
I
group.
resemble that
pick up the
comment.
game. Yeah, and I say
mean,
this.
resent.
I say it every video. Games are about who you're playing with. If you enjoy the people you're playing with, you're probably going to enjoy the game. If you hate the people you're playing with, and you schmuck moving to the east again, you know, it's no fun. But for $40, I think you can do better with your gaming dollar. I would like to see a lower price tag, and you could probably find it at a better price than the $40 that we paid for it.
Yeah,
Is this
yeah.
a
Look,
big box store type game? I mean, do your Targets and your Amazons
We
carry
picked
it?
this up at a friendly local game store, but
Okay.
you can probably grab a copy on Amazon or
That's where
Miniature
you're gonna
Market. That's where
find
you're
your
going to get a
sales.
little bit of a
The local
price
stores,
break.
you're,
Yeah.
you're paying the full price.
If you can grab it used for $20, it's well worth your $20.
There you go.
All right.
well, that's our review of. I gotta look at this. Psychic Pizza Deliverers.
That's a tough word.
Yes, go to the ghost town. It's a mouthful, but it's a really fun game to play.
Think about pizza. It's a mouthful.
Yes, see what I did there? We'll see you next time.